Are you there?
Hello.
Welcome, Gregory. As usual, Gregory, I'm in Bromley, and today it's been very sunny and blue skies, although chilly still. Yeah, I'll call it chilly. How has it been in Brussels?
Very chilly.
Very chilly. And how about the sky? Was it blue and sunny?
Cloudy.
Cloudy. Okay. So not too dissimilar. So yes, welcome listeners to the show. This is the spiritual discussion program. The aim of the show is to introduce you. I hope people can hear me. There's a little background sound. I hope they can hear me. So this is the spiritual discussion program. The aim of the show is to introduce you to the spiritual knowledge in the light of truth, the Grail Message by Abrushing. And every week we have a new topic to discuss. The topic we're discussing tonight is seeking the truth. Seeking the truth. And we welcome you to join us with any questions or comments. The number to contact us on our UK number, it is 079 39 641 958. You can call, text or use WhatsApp. And if you're outside of UK, it is 0044 79 39 641 958. Again, you can call, text or use WhatsApp. There's a slight background sound. Gregory, if you can just put yourself on mute. I don't know where it is coming from. If you can just put yourself on mute there. Thank you. So, dear listeners, I want to begin with what is the Grail Message? The Grail Message in the Light of Truth by Abrushing is a spiritual knowledge of life. It offers an explanation of the world, a picture of creation on the basis of natural laws. Its lectures contain valuable basic elements as a help in life. For through the knowledge mediated, the reader is again brought closer to life and led back to God. The Grail Message deals with important fundamental questions of life by explaining in a clear and logical way the automatic working of the laws of nature, the whole weaving of creation, allowing every process to be recognized and thereby the purpose of our whole life. It is directed at the individual and speaks to the innate experiences of the human being, their strengths and weaknesses. Thus, every reader has the opportunity to discover through the intuitive perception if what is stated is the truth. Combining with matter-of-fact reasoning, a complete world picture arises, where there is no separation between the visible world and the great world beyond the five senses, nor any separation between scientific and religious striving for knowledge. I'd like to give you a couple of quotes from the author of the Grail Message, Abrushing. The hearer and reader of my lectures should always work within himself, keenly probing and building bridges from one lecture to the other, as well as out into the great and small world happenings. Only then will he be able to understand the Grail Message and find that it gradually shapes itself into one complete whole, without leaving any gaps. Again and again, in all the happenings, the reader will come back to the basic features. He can explain everything without having to change even one single sentence. the word of the Grail Message lives, so that it permits only those people who really carry the honest desire in their souls to find abundantly. All else is automatically rejected by it. For the arrogant and those who seek superficially, the message will remain the book with 7 seals. And I'd like to give you one more quote from the author. I wish to fill the gaps which have so far always remained unanswered in the souls of men, and which never leave any serious thinker in peace, if he earnestly seeks for the truth. So, dear listeners, just to remind you, the topic tonight is seeking the truth. And I've just been reading this introductory words on the Grail Message, and you can see that is the main issue, really, that, let's say, yes, the main issue in our lives, which we may or may not realize, seeking the truth. And I know people say we are looking for happiness and peace and joy and so on, but somehow the deep inner, that is, how do you have this happiness and peace? It's in a way we're seeking the truth, whether we know it or we don't. So I invite you again, listeners, to join us tonight with any questions or comments. The number to contact us on our UK number on the topic, as I say, is seeking the truth. So you can contact us on our UK number, which is 079 39 641 958. You can call, text, or use WhatsApp. And if you're outside of UK, it is 0044 79 39 641 958. Again, you can call, text, or use WhatsApp. So, Gregory, as I mentioned, the topic tonight is seeking the truth, and the two main words are seeking and truth. So I looked up in the dictionary, as I do each time, the two words, seek and truth. And this is what I found for the meaning of seek. And it says, attempt to find, in brackets, something. Attempt to find something. And the example they give, they came here to seek shelter from the biting winds, winter winds. And then the second meaning, it says, attempt or desire to obtain or achieve something, bracket something. I think the example they've given in the dictionary is not so, let's say, appropriate, really, for what we're doing tonight. But in any case, the meaning does tell us what it is. So seek, the meaning of seek, it is attempt to find, in brackets, something, or desire to obtain or achieve something. So, Gregory, what do you think of this, this definition I've given from the dictionary about the word seek?
As with everything, one should strive to have a more precise or an intuitive picture. The word seek itself presents a picture of one making some efforts, albeit mentally, or making effort physically, in order to locate or to achieve a particular goal. That is the picture that comes or that appears when that expression seek is mentioned.
Thank you for that. And you've added to what was said in the dictionary, I will say. So yes, so it gives us a direction which we can focus on. I'm just trying to think if I should go on to the meaning of truth. straight away, or we should keep exploring the word seeking. So, Greg, let's just stay on seeking. So, I know that the title tonight is Seeking the Truth. So, when we are seeking the truth, it's like, how do we go about that? Is it sending out some thoughts? Because when you think of the word truth, it's not something you can see like physically, right? It's something. It's like you have to sense it somehow. That's the picture you seem to have an idea. Truth, is that true? So there can be some physical event that happened, and you can say, is that true? And then, but it could be something else. That So just to get clarification on that, Gregory. So when we are seeking the truth, is it something like a physical proof, or is it some other type?
Again, the expression says seeking, or then you mention seeking the truth, already gives you a picture of making efforts. The efforts basically being using the tools that one has. Those tools could be the five senses. These five senses are adapted to picking up the information from anywhere here on Earth. So when one is seeking, one uses the tools that are available, that nature has provided, that one may utilize in the seeking.
Thank you again for that answer. It clarifies for me that it's like, as you mentioned, you use the tools that are available. So obviously, if it's something in the physical world, you have the five senses there operating. So you can use them as your tool. And but that's not and you're implying that there is more than just that. So. But we'll cover that in a minute. We'll look at that in a minute. So I think just to go further on that, Gregory, so what you're trying to say is, are you trying to say that these tools, they work in a particular sphere, and then like they have some tool for one particular sphere and another tool for another particular sphere? Is that how you will detect the truth? Is that how you detect it, with different tools for different spheres?
That is not the sense that one is mentioning here. What one is considering is the picture that we're trying to paint. And in striving to paint a picture, you only use the tool available to you to paint the picture. If that tool is in the painting of the picture is words, then you use words. If it is vision, then you use vision. If it is touch, then you use touch. All these things, what one is stressing here is that there is a tool, or there are tools, which we are endowed with. It is that tool we use for seeking. Without the tools, how can one then seek? When one is having some reflection, that reflection is in form of thoughts. That is, we have an environment where these thoughts reside. And there must be a tool that connects with the thoughts, sometimes through our vision or through smell or something along the line. What we're trying to do here is gradually to paint a picture such that it becomes more sensible, and we can then see where it is leading.
Thank you again for that answer, Gregory, because again, we're expanding this picture. Like this is a journey, and like you said, you can use your eyes, or if it's something visual, you would use eyes. If it's something you can feel with a physical touching, that's how you would use that tool of touching, feeling that way. So this is in a way, it's all common sense, but we need the awareness that this is how this works. So, and it's like well, I'm going to use the word step by step process to, move forward in it. So yeah, thank you for that. I'm going to move on to the second part of the title, which is truth. So seeking the truth is the title today in our discussion. So I looked in the dictionary, the word truth, and the dictionary gave me this answer: the quality or state of being true. Or another one they gave, that which is true or in accordance with fact or reality. And actually they gave me a third one, the fact or belief that is accepted as true. So that's, I will say, we got three different versions or different meanings here, Gregory. If I just repeat them, and if you can just tell me about that. So this is the meaning of the word truth in the dictionary: the quality or state of being true. That's number one. And the number two, it's that which is true or in accordance with fact or reality. And then number three, a fact or belief that is accepted as true. So, Gregory, what would you like to say on that?
Actually, as in everything, one has to sort of examine what the dictionary has made available. In the first instance, why truth? If the truth were not valuable, would one seek it? Would one seek lies? Therefore, when it is said, the expression comes up, seeking for the truth, it means there is something valuable that makes someone want to seek for the truth. That which is very valuable in one's life. The challenge is, how does one go about it? What is the truth? Therein lies the question. What today is referred to as truth, tomorrow or some years' time, they may say it's untrue. And then as people make progress, they now say, oh, part of it is true. So you find that it's as if the truth itself is elusive, because the tools that are being used in the seeking, these tools vary. But the truth itself, if one is seeking it, it means one is seeking or striving to find that which is more permanent, not that which is temporal. As many spend most of their time searching for gold, because it is said that gold is more permanent. So it must be something valuable. On closer examination, the truth itself is the reference point, is the reference framework from which all others may be viewed. The truth itself, because it's a reference framework, is ubiquitous. It therefore means the truth itself does not change. However, many who seek out the truth, it is those people who change, but not the truth itself. So eternally, one may make it very clear that the truth does not change, and that is why it is so valuable. It is always the reference. It is the highest one may consider, because we ourselves measure our progress through the truth. For the truth itself never changes, but we ourselves change, or as we mature along the line, we keep changing and changing.
Thank you again for your answer there, Gregory. I did follow you a bit, and then I sort of got a bit confused. Not because you said something, let's say, weird or anything like that. Just it's just trying to grasp what you're saying, and I'm trying to. It's like you said, the truth is unchangeable, and it's a reference. It's a reference, and it's high. You didn't say high value, but it's something valuable, and that's what people seek. People seek things valuable. So that's why we are seeking the truth in a way, but somehow our appreciation of the truth, or recognition of this truth, seems to vary or change. Maybe that's probably the better word. So even though the truth is the same, the way we recognize it or appreciate it seems to change, and so it looks like we are developing over time, and so. Let's say today we see, like they say with the iceberg, 9/10 is under the water and 1/10 is above the water, and so if you look only from the top of the water, you'd see only the top of it, and you say, oh, that's what it is. But then later you may discover that, oh, actually there's something underneath this here, and that's the 9/10 of it. So is that what you're saying, Gregory, that we seem to see a part of it, a part of this truth, and then we think of that as somehow we think of that as the whole truth, and then we we realize that, oh, maybe that's not the case. Actually, there's more to it, and we discover more. So is there like a journey there, Gregory, that in terms of finding the truth, is like a journey that you cannot see it all, you just see a little bit at a time? Oh, you're on mute, Gregory.
Actually, that is not what one is referring to here. What one is stressing here is that which is valuable, not valueless, that which itself does not change. It does not change with time. It remains the same yesterday, it remains the same today, and remains the same tomorrow. So it does not depend on time. We, however, the human beings, the human spirits, we ourselves, we are the ones who change. The truth itself is the reference framework. Which reference framework are the laws, the operators through which we ourselves came into existence. The truth itself has always remained the same. Therefore, it is eternally the same. It is eternally unchangeable. Whereas we, in order to recognize it again and again, we ourselves have to mature along that line.
Okay, I'm trying to follow what you've said there, and I definitely can accept or understand that the truth doesn't change and it's eternal, and we are the ones who are changing and maturing, and then seeing, you could say, changing over the time to see the truth. And then so what I want to ask about that is before I ask that, I just want to just confirm something. So can a human being really know or really know the truth? Can they really get to appreciate the truth, or it is not, they can't do that?
Every creature can appreciate the effects of the truth on themselves. That effect is only a representation of their inner maturity. As the person matures, it's as if he or she becomes more aware of the opportunities, of the possibilities, which he himself or herself never saw because of the states of his or her maturity. So as we grow, a simple example, imagine a child. When the child comes as a baby, its area of operation, basically, even before it was born, was within the mother's womb. And when that child is born, within some time, its area of operation is only the house. And as it grows and grows, it will make forays into the garden. So its awareness increases. However, the environment has not changed. It is he who is maturing and discovering things. The child keeps growing until it reaches adolescence, where all the impressions assailing it is able to interpret it to a certain extent. It continues to grow until it gets to the state of maturity, which maturity allows it to move from the stage of seeing objects and then recognizing what these objects are meant for. In that case, you find that there is a movement from cognition to recognition. Therefore, you find that it is our personal recognition of the truth, which truths are expressed as the laws through which all came into existence, through which all mature to adulthood, through which everything, all the changes which we tend to see, all these come about through the truth. And therefore, the truth itself, the operations, the truth forms the framework. The truths are the laws of nature, or the truth is represented by the laws of nature. To make it more universal, the truth itself are the laws of creation, which laws of creation are emblematic. These laws of creations are expressions of He who has put these into creation. The truth itself is the will of the Almighty that made it possible, or whose power is expressed through his will or in his will, that itself is the truth. It does not change. It remains the same. But we have to grow. We have to mature to be able to perceive a fraction of the manifold representation which we now recognize as creation.
Thank you, Gregory, for that answer. I really like this example of the baby growing, and in the environment. The environment is the same environment, but the baby perceives it differently, and then it grows older. As it grows, it sees it again differently, and it matures and matures, and it keeps seeing it differently as it matures. But it's the same environment. So this is I would say, wonderful, a beautiful example you've given there. I know you said more than just that. You mentioned a lot of things there about the laws, the truth being, how can I say, manifesting in the laws which have brought us into this world. And yes, there was quite a lot you've said there. I won't go into it right now. We will just continue. Dear listeners, you're listening to Bless Radio. It's the Tuesday evening spiritual discussion program from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. UK time. The topic we're discussing tonight is seeking the truth. And you're welcome to join us with any questions or comments. The number to contact us on our UK number, it is 079 39 641 958. You can call, text, or use WhatsApp. And if you're outside of UK, it is 0044 79 39 641 958. Again, you can call, text, or use WhatsApp. The aim of our show is to introduce you to the spiritual knowledge in the light of truth, the Grail Message by Abdrushi. And if you are interested in getting a copy of the Grail Message, or want to get some more information on the Grail Message, you can go to this website, which is www.grailmessage.com. I'll spell that, www.grail, Grail, message, MESSAGE.com. And just to remind you, we are broadcasting on Bless Radio 1, the number 1, Bless Radio 1, the number 1.com. Also, we are live on YouTube. Go to youtube.com and then put in the search box Bless Radio 1, the number 1, space live stream. Bless Radio 1, number 1, space live stream. And the next day, you can listen to the recording of this show, which is again on YouTube. Go to youtube.com and then type in the search box Bless Radio 1, the number 1, then space Grail Message, and then space the topic of the show tonight, which is seeking the truth. Or you can have other topics for our previous shows. So, Gregory, you said a lot in that last answer. I'm just thinking, I want to look at the truth, how can I say, the different things we have heard about the truth, let's say from the Bible, and where we hear from Jesus saying, "Seek ye the kingdom of heaven, and all other things will be added unto you." I know the topic tonight is seeking the truth. So, and Jesus said he came, well, basically to give us the truth. There's many things he said, but let's say, brought the truth. So when he says that, seek ye the kingdom of heaven, and all other things will be added onto you, added to you. So does that align with seeking the truth, or what does he mean by that?
In the first instance, one is not quite sure which of the evangelists wrote that, because in these matters it is important to be precise in this quotation. Therefore, when it is said, or when it said, he said, seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, and then all others will be added unto you, one can only give an approximate sensing. For there is a difference between the kingdom of heaven and the confusion which has been sowed here on earth, where the concepts have been grossly distorted, whereas in the heavenly sense, concepts are not distorted, for it is the concept we hold within ourselves that either open the way for recognition or shuts out recognition. The concepts in the kingdom of heaven, those concepts are clear, transparent. They do not confuse themselves. And that being the case, it means one should seek for that which is clear, for clarity, for self-consistency. Once one strives to do that, that longing will always be there as to draw one to quick recognition. So, even whilst one is on earth and one strives after to cultivate the right concepts, which is what Christ himself did by presenting it in the clearest possible way. When he was asked, and who is, or he made the statement, love thy neighbor as thyself. And then many were still confused. And he said, and who is my neighbor? And he went on to give in all clearness what neighborhood means. Thereafter, it became very clear to them the duties, the concept of what a neighbor is. Only through such clarity can the human spirit, in practicing, in putting it into practice, only through such can it come to maturity. Such is seeking the kingdom of heaven, where clarity and transparency are there. Therefore, one should follow very carefully, strive very carefully to understand. With understanding comes maturity. With understanding comes clarity, or with clarity comes understanding. So these things are they are connected. And as long as everyone strives along that direction, very soon they will rearrange the concepts they've had, and they will now support one another, for it is one for all and all for one.
Thank you for that, Gregory. So basically, we should always be seeking the truth, and you could say everything's added onto us through that. So yes. Another thing I want to ask you, Gregory, from the again from the Bible about what Jesus said. If now I have to say, I'm going to say this is what is said, but you can correct me if there's anything to correct on it. So there it says here, Jesus said, "I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man cometh to the Father but by me." So here, Gregory, we're asked to, you could say, seek. In a way, Jesus, it sort of implies Jesus when it says, "I'm," so I'll just repeat that, Gregory. Jesus said, "I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man cometh to the Father but by me." So my question there, Gregory, is, are we seeking in this statement, is Jesus asking to seek himself or the truth? It seems that, yeah, it seems not so clear.
Jesus himself painted the clearest picture. In our discussions, we had always stressed that it's like a map that you use to move from one place to another. The pictures, the concepts that Jesus painted were self-consistent and at the same time consistent with the laws of creation through which all came into existence. In painting that picture, it only means for you to be able to move from one place here on earth and strive towards heaven, you yourself must follow that picture, must follow that map. If one does not follow that map, one does not follow that picture, one does not follow those concepts, then he or she will be confused, will not know what to do. However, those who follow the picture, who strive to understand the picture, those who seek the truth, the concepts which he himself has put in place becomes the answer. So only those who strive or to follow him in the concepts, in the picture he painted, only those can arrive at the goal, at the destination. Therefore, those expressions are precise and correct.
Thank you for that, Gregory. I'm trying to, I do follow what you're saying. At the same time, I'm trying to work out when something is being said, why is it sometimes it is understood less by many or not many, doesn't really matter how many, but some people understand and others do not understand.
It is very clear.
Yes.
While it's very clear, the understanding of some people and the non-understanding of others. As we have stated at the beginning, the grasping of the truth depends on the inner maturity of the personality. It already tells us that here on earth, not everyone is on the same level of maturity. For those who have matured inwardly and strive to ensure that their lives here on earth are based on that framework, when words such as the one Jesus used are heard, they can easily grasp it. For those who have not matured to that level, these words just don't make much sense to them because they haven't matured to that level. Even when these words are made so simple, for some, they will prefer first to twist these words, complicate them, then struggle to understand their complications before they are able to make any progress, if at all. So the key here is to understand not everyone here on earth is at the same level of maturity. There are some who are more mature than the others, and they can grasp these things immediately.
Thank you for that answer and explanation. My question after that is it meant for everyone to understand the truth or grasp the truth? Because that's what you would wish everybody to have, that capacity.
It is true that for many, the wishes are to be able to grasp the truth. Wishes are wishes. One must strive to grasp these things aright. For if one considers very carefully, when as a child you had to go out for activities, the people you play with, you grasp things at that level. You didn't take it further. As you grow along, your horizon expanded. It calls for inner movement. There are some who are able to reflect very deeply. There are some who are easily distracted. So it depends on the way each personality positions himself or herself. There are some who enjoy the distortion and do not wish to move further. There are others who do not remain stationary and keep seeking. So what you now have on it is a variation in the maturity of the individuals. That is why many only wish and do nothing, whereas others strive to grasp the truth or seeking in a way in which they employ the tools which has been granted to them for their maturity.
Now, Gregory, there's another phrase, again, which Jesus said it, seek and ye shall find. So I think what you've been pointing to is you have to seek in the right way to find. Otherwise, as you say, some will be just wishing and they'll just be stationary. But then there's those who are striving and they will, well, I'm going to say they will find. Is that right? Is that the right way to interpret that? Seek and ye shall find?
Yes, seeking is not basically to have a thought and go to bed and you wish to accomplish, you wish to reach a particular goal, and in doing that there is a self-exertion. There is no one who intends to accomplish a particular task without exerting the resources through which they are endowed. Therefore, this calls for vigorous activity. It is only through the manner in which men is sick that the sheep are separated from the goats. So you will find on the one hand, many only make feeble efforts and they are easily distracted. Whereas there are others who try again and again. And like it is said, you can get it if really you want it. But you have to try and try. At last, you will succeed. It is not that the truth itself is difficult. It is that in our way of seeking, there are times we seek through the wrong direction. It is also a measure of our maturity or immaturity.
Thank you for that. I've received a little text from a listener. They're just making a comment, listening to what we just said, and they said, knock and the door will be open. Knock and the door will be open. Would you like to respond to that, Gregory?
Knock and the door will be open. Again, one can see the activities. Knock. Again, these are figures of speech. The process of knocking, using the resources granted to you. So that figure of speech, knock, in which you have to exert yourself in knocking. Exert yourself by opening, making use of those resources granted to you. That knocking is the effort. And as long as you knock vigorously, doesn't mean you have to bring down a house. The door, which door? The door to one's intuition, which intuition alone is capable of reaching to the heights, to its homogeneous species. Why must one knock? There is the need to exert oneself. Again, one must understand that the human spirit that is here on earth has one, the intuition. That intuition is what connects the physical body to the spirit. And two, it has the intellect. The intellect is a product of the frontal brain. The back brain is what, through its fine vibrations, expressions go to the Spirit for maturity or come from the Spirit. So the process of knocking is that process of exerting oneself to ensure that those fine impressions that come from without pass through the frontal brain, not stopped by the frontal brain, but proceed to the back brain and then to the spirit. That is self-exertion. And it could not have been put in any other way with the picture when it says knock and the door will be open. What one has stressed is only a partial picture. To get a more precise, a richer picture, many are invited to examine the work in the light of truth. Again, in the work itself, the question was asked, what seek ye? There must be a seeking. Seeking for that which is of value. And therefore, the question was put there, what seek ye? That seeking must have been as a result of the inner vibrations of the human spirit. The inner vibrations of the human spirit wishing, struggling, knocking to come to a realization of what creation is about. Struggling, knocking to understand, to come to a recognition from the cognitive objects that abound in creation, that is able to perceive, but does not know what these objects are to be used for. It is the task of the human spirit to seek these things out and to understand why these objects, why these streams are there, such that in its understanding, it may make use of it in accordance with the truth, which is the will of the Almighty. Only then can it fulfill its task.
Thank you for that answer, a comprehensive answer, Gregory. Really, again, painting a picture, let's say in quite, well, I'm going to say in detail, but covering, let's say, wider picture of this knock, and the door will be open, and in the process of it. So, thank you for that. And as Gregory mentioned in that answer, that really the detailed answer, you need to pick up the Grail Message and read that and examine that. So if you would like to get a copy of the Grail Message or want some more information on the Grail Message, you can go to this website, which is www.grailmessage.com. I'll spell that, www.grail, Grail, message, MESSAGE.com. You're listening to Blessed Radio on Tuesday evening. This is the spiritual discussion program from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. The aim of the show is to introduce you to the Grail Message in the Light of Truth by Abrushin. And the topic we're discussing tonight is Seeking the Truth. Seeking the Truth. You're welcome to join us with any questions or comments. The number to contact us on our UK number, it is 07939 641 958. You can call, text, or use WhatsApp. And if you're outside of UK, it is 0044 79 39 641 958. Again, you can call, text, or use WhatsApp. And Gregory, when you were talking about the intuition and the frontal brain, let's say the intellectual brain, how, let's say, we receive some, let's say receive what we see and understand it. And so I wanted to ask you, some things which you, let's say, come across, it excites you, and it's like you go for it, and then other things, let's say, are not so, I don't use the word repulsive, but they're just not attractive, so you just don't go there. So my question on this, Gregory, is in this seeking the truth, I know we mentioned that there are different senses and different ways of sensing the truth and picking up the truth, but I wanted to ask, in regards to the, let's say, intuition and intellect, is it like one is the heart, how you sense with your heart something, with your, say, if you look at, say, something with your intuition, that you sense it, oh, this is what I feel in my heart, and then the intellect, you could say, is what I am grasping with my, let's say, intelligence, or with my intellect. Is that how we can we equate it this way? Sort of, it's like an easy picture to grasp this point. So if there's something my heart is attracted to, that is my intuition there, and when it's my, let's say, intellect grasping something, that is my head. Is that like a common parlance? Is that a good equivalent?
One has to be very careful with examples such as the one you have given. For the vibrations of one's intuition and the vibrations of the frontal intellect, both may appear at the same time. Therein lies confusion. For most of the time, in one's reflection, there are pictures. In some, there are pictures and words. Those ones with pictures, without words, are most probably from out of one's spirit. Words are only generated later by the intellect. The best pointer one can discuss is to examine the work where it is very clearly made, the intellect and one's intuitive perception. There is full clarity. Therefore, one is not likely to make errors out of it. For whatever picture one tries to paint and give rules, you will find that along the line, because one is so tied to these wrong impressions, becomes very difficult to sever oneself away from it. The best one may say is remain calm, examine this work, and see what you can make of it.
Thank you for that answer, Gregory. I've been thinking, looking at the truth, and I know you've said at the beginning it's something eternal, doesn't change. And then I'm thinking in the world when we are doing research or exploration, and let's say from science or the universe, we can say. So, do we, when we find something to be true in science, or let's say universe, Gregory, is there a truth there? Or yeah, would you say that is finding the truth?
When the expression science is mentioned, then you must ask yourself, what is it that they have found true? For in science, you may say, oh, I found this locally, it is true. Only for a few years, and it's not very true because one has seen other aspects. Therefore, one cannot say, in quotes, the scientific methods, if there are anything like scientific methods, right, expresses the truth. At best, they may express part of it depending on the tools which have been utilized in the experimentation. The so-called sciences use the form of so-called mathematics to examine whether something is consistent or inconsistent. They have different forms, and these forms they express in all sorts of ways. These forms keep changing depending on the maturity of those who are engaged in these forms. Therefore, one cannot rely on that which is only looking at the surface, hasn't dug deep enough. Science cannot tell you about life itself, how one came into existence, the different planes of existence, incarnation, and what happens when the personality has dropped the physical body. What happened thereafter? They cannot tell you that for very simple reason. You cannot offer something to someone which you yourself you do not have. They lack the explanation, and therefore they cannot offer you an explanation of that which they just lack. Therefore, when it comes to that which concerns life itself, science is imperfect, is incomplete to express itself. At best, it might look at a very tiny part, examine it, contented, and moves forward. Again and again, one must ask, what do we do in science when we say we are engaged in the sciences? Some will come up with biology, some will come up with technology, some will come up with physics, and it stops there. Some will study conservation or non-conservation. So if it were perfect, then it will not be changing as it has been changing. One should never forget, about 1,000 or 2,000 or 3,000 years ago, it was not called science. They had all different sorts of alchemy. And as they matured physically, they found better expressions to express that which they have found. And in future, those expressions will keep getting better to express that which they keep finding. With the laws of creation or with the laws of nature, there is always an underlying structure. That underlying structure is always present. The laws of nature are not the laws of science. The laws of science that they put together through experimentation, but at the same time striving to understand the underlying structure of that which is visible to them. That is different. It means they haven't found.
Thank you so much for that answer, Gregory. I've got a question from a listener. It's slightly different to what we've just been talking about, but I just want to put it forward now. The question is it wise to seek the truth as some do by means of hypnosis? So I'll just repeat that. Is it wise to seek the truth as some do by means of hypnosis?
Very simply, it is utterly wrong. Why? Because one must understand what hypnosis is. Hypnosis is more of a method of experimenting by binding the soul or making the soul a bit more sensitive than its inner maturity. In that particular case, when the inner personality is challenged or it comes under attack, the one doing the experimentation or the one who is taking notes is unaware of what the person who is experimented on is going through. That person experimented on may come to some harm. And that being the case, you will find that that person who has been bound or made a bit more sensitive than usual, in accordance with the laws of creation, a bond is established between the person who is experimented upon and the person carrying out the experiment. That bond goes beyond what you find on earth until amends are made, until that bond is dissolved. So if the person experimented upon sinks when it goes into the beyond, the experimenter goes with him. Again, a finer explanation can be found in the work, in the light of truth, the Grail Message.
Thank you for that, Gregory. I just want to point out to the listeners, as Gregory's mentioned there about the Grail Message there, if you are interested in getting a copy of the Grail Message or want some more information on the Grail Message, you can go to this website, which is www.grailmessage.com. I'll spell that, www.grail, Grail, message, MESSAGE, gmail.com. Gregory, just to continue my question on seeking the truth in, let's say, various fields. We looked at science, and basically was dismissed because it's, let's say, very limited, or it only works in a particular sphere. So, and truth is, let's say, universal. So obviously, science can only look at a limited area, so it can't see the truth there. So the next, and then you mentioned in your answer there about the laws of nature. So I want to ask you, Gregory, is truth nature basically somehow? Because nature, everything comes from nature. And you said truth is the reference point. So is nature like almost like the creator of everything? So yeah, so when you say the truth doesn't change, is that also that nature, is that basically, I'm asking, is truth and nature the one and the same?
Truth and nature, strictly speaking, are not one and the same. By one and the same, you're saying truth is nature and nature is truth. That is what is referred to when you say they are one and the same.
Yes.
That is not the case. Looking at from both sides. The truth are the laws which activate creation. Creation has different categories. The lighter and the higher category, one may call them the primordial creation. Thereafter, a precipitate of that, one may call the spiritual. From there, another precipitate, one may refer that below as the animistic. From the world of the animistic, a precipitate of that is the world of matter. When nature, strictly speaking, is mentioned, that category, by category, one is referring to some structures. One is referring to some forms. One is referring to some types. So when one refers to nature, one basically is referring to the structures below or from the animistic down. These are heavier structures. These are denser structures. Which structures permeate all that we see? That, strictly speaking, is what is referred to as nature. The truth itself permeates this structure, activates this structure. For the truth is eternal. But nature, as we know it, when looked up very carefully, is temporal, like you have in the world of matter, where things evolve and subsequently they dissolve. That is only a very limited picture one may discuss now. Again and again, one is glad to point to the work in the light of truth, the Grail Message. For there itself is light, and there itself is truth. On the one hand is light, on the other hand is truth. The truth works in conformity with the light. With light is a substance. Nature itself is a substance. The truth itself is the power, or is the mechanism of life that activates that particular category that is referred to as nature. More of this can be discussed later, but each one should strive to examine this work such that they will have a much, much finer picture.
Thank you again, Gregory, for this answer. And from what you've said, my next question is automatically coming from that. Basically, it looks, you said truth is the power, it's also the laws that I could say bring into being things, other things in existence. And so my next question, Gregory, really is, so is the truth God? Is that, because you said it's the power and it's the laws. I mean, the laws doesn't sound by itself that it's some being, but but sometimes we do say God is the law. So is that what you mean when we say the word truth? Truth is God.
What expressions one has used was only used in a very limited sense. To draw it apart, one may discuss that there is light and there is what activates in accordance with the laws of creation, which are expressions of the truth. And then there is the power that stands. So there are three. These three are personalized. The first is the source of the power. The second is substantiality. It is personalized. So also is the truth. Only on such a basis can further explanations and understanding follow.
Thank you so much for that. I can see this is so deep, this level of understanding that it would, let's say, people need to travel this road to grasp that, rather than just be given on their, like on a plate, or on a, like, what do they call, giving a spoon, like a silver spoon. We have to put an effort in. You have said it already. The seeking requires striving and effort to reach the goal, you can say. So rather than give something on a plate, we have to work to get there, and then there's a reward when you put the effort in. So it's really important that people do strive to seek, and then they will find the truth in this seeking. So thank you for that. Now, we've talked earlier about the ways of sensing the truth. We talked about the five senses, we talked about the intellect, we talked about the intuition. There's so many ways of sensing. And so I want to ask now, is the truth can be, let me see, I just want to think before I ask this question. So, you know, if I just put something, Gregory, about the Almighty Creator, because people wonder sometimes, is there really a creator? Is there a God? Or is it, some people either imagining or just, not knowing? And then, so some people say, show, provide evidence, because when you say truth, you think of, oh, we need the proof of these things. So, my question is, Gregory, can the truth be proven through physical evidence? And the example I'm thinking of, the existence of the Almighty. When people say, show the proof of the existence of the Almighty, and then when you look at that, and they said, well, basically you can't find any physical proof. And then some people who are looking only for the physical proof, for them, oh, that means it doesn't exist because there's no physical proof. So my question is, Gregory, can truth be proven through physical evidence?
That same question, or something equivalent to it, was once asked of Christ. And his response was, you see creation, you see the world, you see the earth, you see the expanse, and yet man still asks for evidence? What other evidence can one provide when the evidence is yourself, when the evidence is all about where everything that exists testifies to the power? Everything that exists testifies to the source of that power. What other evidence is one to provide? What other evidence should one even contemplate when this power is unceasing? Before man incarnated on earth, animals have been here. Before the animals incarnated, we had the plants. Before the plants incarnated, here were elements. The question one should ask, whose power was it, is it, that continues to maintain all these structures? Whose power is so sublime to keep all that one perceives, physically and non-physically? Whose power is that? It is because man, or for many, they are so indolent that they themselves cannot ask themselves the questions. They are not honest enough or brave enough to confidently examine when the evidence which they demand, that evidence is right before them, but they are unable to move from that state of seeing all that exists, from that state of cognition to the state of recognition. They give proof of their inability to recognize. That is what they express with such questions. For they never created themselves, for they never created any element. Which element has always been there? The best they could do was study what exists. For you cannot study You cannot investigate that which is not. You can only investigate that which you are able to perceive in accordance with your own ability. So these questions have arisen out of their inability to investigate, their inability to move from what they have perceived, what they have seen, what they have heard, to move from that state to a final state. For that which keeps nature alive, which keeps creation alive, is sublime. That whose power maintains all these structures is far above the capacity of man. Again, to have a finer picture, one needs to examine, one needs to come to conviction. Convictions can only come when you weigh and examine. You cannot come to conviction and confidence when you sit down, do nothing, and expect proofs to be provided when the proof is right before you, but you yourself refuse. You are agnostic. So the best one may wish, or one may say to one's fellow human spirit, is examine everything that comes your path in accordance with the laws of creation through which you yourself came into existence.
Thank you again for that answer, Gregory. Just you keep reminding us that we need to put the effort and strive, and then answers will be given, and it takes effort to do that. So thank you for that. Dear listeners,
may I say something?
Sure.
One did not say answers will be given. One is stressing that one will awaken to the answers, to the structures which are already there. If they are already there, it means they have already been given, not that will be given. One needs to awaken. To awaken calls for vigorous activity. To awaken means recognition.
Thank you again for clarifying that. Thank you. Dear listeners, you're listening to Bless Radio. This is the Tuesday evening spiritual discussion program from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. UK time. The aim of the show is to introduce you to the spiritual knowledge in the light of truth, the Grail Message by Abrushi. And if you are interested in getting a copy of the Grail Message or want more information on the Grail Message, you can go to this website, which is www.grailmessage.com. I'll spell that. www.grail, Grail, message, MESSAGE.com. And the topic we're discussing tonight is seeking the truth. Seeking the truth. You're very welcome to join us with any questions or comments. The number to contact us on our UK number, it is 07939 641 You can call, text, or use WhatsApp. And if you're outside of UK, it is 0044 7939 641 Again, you can call, text, or use WhatsApp. And we are broadcasting on blessradio1.com. That's the number one, blessradio1, the number one.com. Also, we are broadcasting on youtube.com. You just go to youtube.com and put in the search box Bless Radio 1, the number one, and then space live stream. That's for the live show. And then after the show the next day, you can hear the recording of this show. And again, you go to YouTube, youtube.com. Then in the search box, type in Bless Radio 1, the number one, space Grail Message. That's 2 words, Grail Message. And then the title of the show, which is tonight's show, Seeking the Truth. And you can also listen to our previous shows with the different topics that we have. So, yes. Now, Gregory, you've talked about, again, well, we're talking all the time throughout the show that we have to, you said, awaken. We have to, come to recognition of this truth that we are seeking, which takes effort. We have to strive for it, and we've got at our hands the resources, which are, we've talked about the 5 senses, the earthly senses. Then we have also the intuition. Now, what I want to ask next now, because we've already said that science, let's say, it only looks at one aspect, and that's not, let's say, really looking at the truth, because it's just let's say one aspect only. So, and then Gregory, we talk about things, the laws. You mentioned about the laws, the natural laws, that's they are the ones that brought everything into being, and the truth is sort of, if I understood you correctly, the laws. I must admit, I can't express it exactly how you said it, but it's like, if I understood you correctly, it was like the laws are the sort of the manifestation of the truth in the activity, you can say, of this. We see it in the creation, how it activates itself through the laws. So my question there, Gregory, is all this is sounding all logical and clear, and then but then sometimes I'm wondering, is this like very objectively, can you sense it objectively, or is it something subjectively? Because we've said earlier, some people can understand and others cannot understand, and you explained that is, some people have are mature enough, and they have worked for that maturity, and they're now able to understand, just like a baby is growing and it's able to know, sense the environment, and the environment is the same, but he can make use of the environment, because obviously baby doesn't do that much, but it can, to a certain extent, it is aware of this environment. And as you go from a baby to the next level, to a child, to an infant, and as further it grows, it has a much better perception of this environment. So that's my question, Gregory. When we have this perception of the truth, are we able to do that objectively, or is it subjectively, or is it both even?
Maybe a simple example will be helpful. For when one experiences, one uses the tools that are available. Let us say when one is breathing, the way one breathes is peculiar to the person. There are some who, according to their nature, it is deep breathing. There are some who do not breathe as deeply. That is one. Another example which one may use is that of seeing. There are some who are able to see things deeper than others due to their maturity. The sensing, which one may refer to as the seeing, the hearing, all these are personal. They are personal because the experiencing using these senses are personal. Therefore, to a large extent, they are subjective. However, breathing itself, the picture where you have the exchange of taking in air and giving out air in such a cyclic manner is the same. That is the object. But the experiencing of the object is subjective. That is what is meant in this particular case. That the laws of creation, the experiencing of these laws of creation on themselves is personal. This experiencing is based on what one had sowed in the past. There are returns. That there is sowing and reaping only tells us there is that cyclic activity. That cyclic activity remains the same. The experiencing, which brings sometimes that which is beneficial or brings that which is sweet or bitter, differs from one person or the other. There are times one feels very strong, feels very well. There are other times one does not feel very well. There are times one is joyful, there are times one is sorrowful. The laws themselves that make these things happen remains the same. These are the laws of nature or the laws of creation. But the experiencing of these laws of creation or the effects of the laws of creation differs. That is where it becomes subjective. Else, the laws themselves are objective. They are the objects that keeps creation into existence and goes on forever and ever.
Thank you, Gregory, for a very beautiful explanation of, so sometimes we try to picture something, oh, it's just this way, and then sometimes you think, no, it's another way. But then you do that, if you do it like that, let's say very selective way, you don't see the full picture, you don't have the context of the whole picture, and you brought the whole context together there. So thank you for that. Now, I want to slightly go further now on that's a different aspect of truth, because we say seeking the truth, and people are seeking, I told you earlier, people say we're looking for happiness and peace, and then there are people seeking what is the purpose, our purpose, or what is the meaning of life. So Gregory, can you help us with that? What is our purpose? Because there's a question that, why was I born? What is my purpose? So we are seeking that, isn't it? You said we are seeking the truth. So somehow this is also, we are seeking for that as well. So maybe you can, I'm There are too many questions here. Um, yeah, let me start a little bit one step before. So, what is there something, Gregory, inside us to seek answers to life? Is there something there? Because we said seeking the truth, but it's that is, and we know um, people want to investigate why this has happening, why that is happening. So, is there something inside us, Gregory, in our nature that wants to understand life or want to know about life?
Correct. There is. For at the beginning of the discussions, we talked about seeking that which is of value. You would not seek that which is of no value. That you seek at all only gives proof that you are after. Your goal is that which is of value, not only of temporary value, but of permanent value. And only that which is of similar kind can seek that which is of permanence. That means the personality whose core is of spirit, from time to time feels drawn, restless in his search or in his or her seeking in the form it takes of weighing and examining, such that it will come to conviction, such that it will have the confidence to move forward, to move upwards courageously. That which is the essence, that which man seeks, is to have an understanding, a thorough or complete understanding of those things that are responsible for not only his or her physical well-being, but also spiritual well-being, such that whenever they engage or carry out any activities, the returns will be such that it will bring them benefit, it will bring them joy and happiness, rather than sorrow. The more the inner personality engages in such activities, the stronger the longing, and it wants to proceed in such a fashion that it will not consciously do anything which is contrary to these things which are of value to it. Of value because they control, they return the fate which has impact on the formation of the maturity of the human soul. That is what many seek, because they, along the line, cannot find it merely in material things. They turn their inner gaze away from the world of matter. The world of matter, which is only of temporal values. Deep within them is that longing, the longing for spiritual recognition, not just spiritual cognition, with recognition which is not only merely the awareness, but understanding how to make use of these laws that control, that impact all that has come into existence, to make use of these laws in such a way that it will be only joy and happiness, which joy and happiness can only be found on the long run when one unconditionally swings in these laws of nature or laws of creation. And these can be found not basically on earth, but more so in a homogeneous environment which is of spirit, where only joy and happiness will give forth joy and happiness, as it is in heaven. It is the task of man to ensure that also swings on earth, or swings wherever it finds itself. That is the task of the human personality. First, to understand, to come to recognition of the forces of nature, of the powers that stream through nature, of the currents, in such a way that they are able to mediate in accordance with these laws that brings only happiness and joy.
Thank you again, Gregory, for your answer there. It really is a joyous awakening, really, to realize, basically what we've been talking about in this show today is like coming to a consciousness, we've talked about awakening, but you can say like becoming more conscious about life, conscious of things around us, conscious of ourselves. So it really is, this is you could say, the purpose of our show, to direct you to the Grail Message and to bring to that consciousness. And so I would like to end the show tonight with this reading from which is very appropriate to the title of the show tonight, or the topic of the show tonight, Seeking the Truth. So I'm going to read now this is a section from the lecture in the Grail Message called Awake, and I'm just reading a section of it. You seek the truth. What is the truth? What you still feel to be truth today, you will recognize even tomorrow as error, in which, however, you will later again discover grains of truth. For the manifestations also change their forms. Thus your seeking continues. Yet amid these changes you mature. Truth, however, remains always the same. It does not change, for it is eternal. And being eternal, it can never be clearly and truly grasped by the earthly senses, which are familiar only with the change of forms. Therefore, become spiritual, free from all earthly thoughts, and then you will possess the truth, will stand in the truth, and will bathe in it, constantly surrounded by its pure light. for it will envelop you completely. As soon as you become spiritual, you will swim in it. Then you need no longer study so painstakingly what science has to offer. Nor need you fear errors, but you will already have the answer to every question in the truth itself. Moreover, you will no longer have any questions, because without thinking you will know all things, will embrace all things, because your spirit will live in the pure light, in the truth. Therefore, become spiritually free. Burst the fetters that hold you down. If obstacles present themselves, welcome them joyfully, for they will show you the way to freedom and strength. Look upon them as gifts from which you will benefit, and you will overcome them with ease. Either such obstacles are put in your way to teach and develop you, in which case you add to the means of your ascent, or they are the reaction to some debt you have incurred, which you can redeem in this way and thus free yourselves. In either case, they help you to advance. Therefore, set out to meet them with a bold heart, for it is for your own good. Dear listeners, I've just read there a section from the lecture called Awake in the Grail Message in the Light of Truth by Abdushin. And I strongly urge you to pick up the Grail Message that will just, I can only say, guide you in seeking the truth that you are seeking. So it will guide you in that direction, and here this shows you the way. So Gregory, anything you'd like to say goodbye to our listeners tonight?
One can only wish many to strive to seek for the truth itself, for it will set one free.
Thank you very much. That's really lovely way to end. Dear listeners, thank you for joining us tonight. Hope you enjoyed the show and found it uplifting and enlightening. And just to remind you, if you are interested in getting a copy of the Grail Message or want to get more information on the Grail Message, you can go to this website, which is www.grailmessage.com. I'll spell that. www.grail, Grail, message, message.com. Thank you for joining us again tonight. I wish you all the best. Have a great week. God bless. All the best, everybody. Take care.